manager in many ways, but you go out not to lose rather than go out to win.
Mm.
So, yeah, Frank de Boer didn't last. Now, this time, the Oliver Glasner is very, very popular with the fans, and I think he's written himself into the good books of pundits and the football world generally, because he certainly brought a brand of football, having won himself the Europa League with his previous club in Germany, I think, Germany or Austria, Germany. Um, and his style of football is to go out to win, but it's kind of a three at the back situation with two wing backs, so it's kind of 5-5-3-3, something like that, or 5-2-4. So it's a much more attacking philosophy. And of course, he pretty much was able to bring that in straight away. It took him a few games to get things moving. And then he had a very good rest of his first season. Now, this season, Palace started not well. We didn't win in the first 9 games, had some draws, but didn't win. But that said, about 12 of the squad came back pretty late from the Euros,
Mm.
the men's Euros for that summer, and they
Mm.
were allowed time off until, so they came back late. So the team wasn't really functioning as it had been before, but after that he really got things together. And as I say, if Palace had had the same start to the season as pretty much the rest of it,
Mm.
they would have been up there challenging for European places as it is by winning the FA Cup. We
Mm.
are in the Europa League next
Yeah.
season, which will be a new experience for those of us who support the team. So yeah, but to come back to your point, yes, obviously Anurim had a style of football which perhaps maybe he tried to do it too quickly. I still think really good footballers can adapt. You've got to be able to adapt within the realms of your position. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily want a central defender or expect them to
Mhm.
be a wing back, for example. But
Mm.
if they're good quality players, I would have thought they can adapt to whatever is being asked of them. Much of it, therefore, depends on whether the manager has the dressing room where the players buy into his or her philosophy.
Mm.
And maybe that was part of
Mm.
it. He strikes me as quite a young man, Andy Rim. I don't know how old he is. Probably about 40, is he? 41, something like that.
Mm.
And, you know, very close to the ages of some of the older players. And I don't know whether, professional footballers, they're a tough-nosed lot. They have to be for a tough job.
Mm.
And if they don't fully respect the manager, I'm not saying that's the case in this instance, but if they don't, there's almost a part of them which doesn't want to make it work. Now, whether that's relevant to this, I've got no idea.
Mm.
But yeah, it'd be interesting, very interesting to see if he stays on there and whether the board actually want him to. I get the
Yeah.
feeling they probably do. Otherwise, he would already have gone by now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have the same. I have the same hunch as well. Right. So, Ange of Spurs. He said he's had a fantastic season. Uh,
Did he actually say that?
it
Was that
did.
a press conference?
It wasn't a press conference. It was after his last game that he lost. I think he lost that game.
All right, on Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah, did he lost that game,
yeah.
didn't he? So anyway, as he was going through the tunnel, there was a female presenter, and she stopped him along the way, and she said, "So some would say that you've had a really challenging season. What would you say?" You know, and he just went without blinking. He just said, "Well, I would say." And he just went without blinking. He just said, "Well, I would say we've had a fantastic season." And then he went on to say why. He said, we're in Europe. we're in the Champions League next season. He said what could be better than that? He said we're in Europe next season. We're playing the Champions League, and we won the Europa Cup. So what could be better than that? He said it's a fantastic season, and I thought, well, I'm gonna. You've had a fantastic season. I suppose
it sounds like he was being a bit sarcastic, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't think so, because in a way, bro, I kind of, well, it's half full, half empty. You know, how do you look at it? You know, where you're looking at it from. He's probably looking at it from the perspective of, you know, we're playing Europe, you know, and we want a silverware. So on that, I think is right. But has he had a brilliant season? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's quite an astonishing claim to make. Now, I think part of the issue here is the press, particularly the press and the pundits, mainly the press, I guess, but they tend to bait him in the press conferences, and maybe the woman in the tunnel, not deliberately to upset him, but you know, to ask him what sort of season do you think you've had, if that was the question, is to me a baiting question. And I think the sad thing is he sometimes, understandably, rose to the debate, and he got angry with you know, frankly, some stupid questions. I mean, I don't know whether we talked about it before, but a few weeks ago, the question was put to him by a reporter in the press conference. You know, depending on your result tomorrow in the Europa Cup final with Manchester United, do you think you're going to end up being a hero or a clown? And he really reacted to that, and he said, well, I can't remember his exact words, but along the lines, no, I'm not a clown and I won't ever be a clown. So you can sort of understand that. It feels personally insulting to call him that. Now, the interesting thing about this, I think, is obviously the Tottenham fans are rightly proud and pleased that they've actually got something great to celebrate at the end of the season after what's been a pretty appalling, dismal, sad season for the fans and the team. And I sometimes think that having heard discussions about this on the radio as well, I sometimes think that